That's like the, that's maybe 2 minutes behind.
Close enough for.
That's what my grandfather would say.
Done. My, oh my. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Donna. Welcome, everyone, to the Keene Unitarian Universalist Church. Your order of service says that your welcomer this morning is Deb McClay, but she asked me, Tom Julius, to step in because she had another obligation. We are delighted that you are here today. Whether you are here with us because here in our beautiful sanctuary or on one of our online friends, welcome. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. We hope you will find something in our service today that proves useful in your daily life and provides you hope, grace, and energy for the week ahead. If you are new here today, or just feel new, we especially welcome you, and each week we designate an ambassador. And today we have Ambassador Hill. You can ask Carol any questions about the church, and we invite you to sign our guest book over here to my right, located on the door to the parish hall, where we'll be having coffee, tea, and snacks, and Carol will be able to answer any questions. And today we have the first of 4 book fairs. You'll see a book display set up where you can purchase a book that's published by the Unitarian Universalist Association for yourself, or you can purchase a book, donate it to the KUC library, and borrow it. Also, we have a tradition in our church for people to become official members. And this is the historic covenant book that is available to be our dear Minister Rowan will have it with her during coffee hour. If you have been coming to church and have been thinking about becoming a member, we'd love for you to make that official and sign in the covenant book. Doing that enables you to participate as a voting member in our annual meeting, which is coming up. Lastly, we welcome all children in our sanctuary. We believe that the sounds they make are sacred. Our cell phones, however, we appreciate that they are more quiet. Welcome.
Good morning. During today's service, it's going to be a little unusual. You may have guessed that. For those of you in the sanctuary, if you've seen these tables, I will guide you through several distinctive interactive parts, and these moments of interaction may hold echoes for you of the Christian Easter story, of our annual changing of seasons, of our country's democracy, or perhaps of your own cycles of your own life. There's no one singular way to engage with it. And for some of you, these invitations may feel exciting and energizing and enriching. And for others of you, they may feel a little risky or challenging or even absurd. Notice how you're feeling and choose to engage or not in a way that allows you to make meaning or to spiritually reflect for yourself. You can participate in 1 part, 2 parts, 3 parts, all the parts, up to you. And we'll have an opportunity later in the service to reflect in small groups on what these experiences have been like and to share back with the larger congregation the meaning that your group participants made of it. Our opening words today come from the Reverend Dan Schatz. On this day, We tell the story of a man taken by the government, imprisoned and executed for his words. Words like, "I was a stranger and you did not welcome me, naked and you did not give me clothing, sick and in prison and you did not visit me. Truly, I tell you, just as you did not do it to one of the least of these, you did not do it to me." Words like, "Love your enemy and give to the poor." We tell the story of a man who taught by his words and his example that the most hated people in society were also sacred. They arrested him not for any crime, but to silence him. They killed him to silence him, but it was too late. His words had already taken wing. The stories had already taken wing. You do not have to believe that a dead man came back to life to know that compassion and justice can never be killed. Freedom and love and human decency will always rise again. May it be so. I now invite Tina Stevens to come forward to light our chalice. Please join me in the chalice lighting words written in your order of service. We kindle this flame to remind ourselves of the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment.
Can I have Annie, Ruthie, and Ernie to help me? All right, that's distracting. But it was fun. We are going to tell you the Easter story today. Who here was here for Christmas and remember the Christmas story? Where we talked about how Jesus was born and what Christians celebrate? Well, Easter is when many remember the end of Jesus' life and the amazing things people believed happened after he died.
Jesus remembered as a great Jewish teacher who lived long ago. He taught that God loves everyone and that we should care for those in need, forgive others, and love one another. 12 close friends, called disciples, traveled with him and listened to his stories and teachings.
Jesus taught that people who were poor or pushed aside by society were deeply loved by God. He wanted a world where everyone was treated fairly and where people shared what they had. But some powerful people didn't like these ideas, and they started to plan for a way to stop him.
One day, Jesus and his disciples traveled to a big city called Jerusalem to celebrate Passover, a Jewish holiday. He rode into the city on a donkey, and people cheered and laid down palm trees to welcome him like a king.
While in Jerusalem, Jesus shared a special meal with his disciples. It was a time of love and connection, but that night, one disciple, named Judas, told Jesus' enemies where he was, and they came and arrested him. The others were afraid and ran away.
After Jesus was arrested, he was brought before Pontius Pilate. The Roman governor, Pilate, didn't think Jesus had done anything wrong, but the religious and political leaders were angry because Jesus had challenged the way things were. They said he was causing trouble and claiming too much power. Pilate was afraid that he didn't give them what they wanted. There might be an uprising or people might turn against him. So even though he was unsure, Pilate gave the crowd's demands, and Jesus was sentenced to die on a cross.
After Jesus died, his friends gently wrapped his body in cloth and placed it in a quiet tomb. They had to do this quickly because Sabbath was about to begin. On the Sabbath, Jewish people do not do work or chores. So they rolled a big stone in front of the tomb and planned to come back after the Sabbath to finish the burial traditions. Jesus' followers were full of grief and sadness.
In the days that followed, people began to share stories about Jesus, remembering his kindness, his wisdom, and how it felt to be near him. His presence felt so strong that it seemed like he was still with them in spirit.
After the Sabbath, some important women who had followed Jesus went to the tomb bringing spices and ointments to care for his body. But when they arrived, they found the stone had been rolled away and the tomb empty. This was a great mystery. Some said angels appeared and told the women that Jesus was alive. Others believed they saw Jesus themselves rising higher and higher until he disappeared into the sky. They believed he had gone to be with God in heaven.
Many of Jesus' followers believed that he was so special and holy that one day he would return to earth and help bring peace and justice to the world. As time went on, the people who had known Jesus personally grew older and passed away. Their children and grandchildren passed on the stories, but Jesus did not return in the way people had expected. Still, some people continue to hope for this return, while others find meaning in remembering the love and hope he left behind.
Some people, including many Unitarian Universalists, believe that Jesus may never return to earth in the same way that he lived before, but that his spirit never really left. His love, courage, and wisdom are still alive in the stories he told and the way he treated others. Jesus taught the golden rule: treat others the way that you want to be treated. But we also talk about the platinum rule: treat others the way they want to be treated. That means being curious, kind, and respectful towards people who are different from ourselves, and doing our best to understand what they need, not just what we would want. When we live this way, we keep the spirit of love and justice alive in the world.
When someone we love dies, we can keep their spirit alive by remembering them through stories, love, and the good things they did. That's how people have remembered Jesus all these years. His message of love and justice still inspires people today.
And now for our first hymn, we have some joyful cacophony. There are 2 different sets of words in your hymn book to the exact same tune. Hymn number 61 is Lo, the Earth Awakes Again, and hymn 268 is Jesus Christ is Risen Today. And we'll sing, for those of you singing the latter.
Show me how to do this. Oh, sorry.
For those of you singing the latter, you'll only sing verses 1, 2, and 4. There's only 3 verses for Lo, the Earth Awakes Again. So pick which words sing to your heart, and we'll join together on the Alleluias. In the beginning, there was creation. Whether we're debating about whether the chicken came first or the egg, we're talking about creation. The Big Bang was also a creation story. Our first interactive part today will also be about creation. In a moment, I'm going to share a poem and ring the singing bowl to invite anyone interested to come forward to any of these 6 tables. Once you arrive, you'll have about 3 minutes to silently collaborate with those at your table to create a tableau of beauty. Notice how you feel as you create. How do you approach creativity? How do you relate to the others at your table? When you hear the chime of the singing bowl once again, you'll have just a moment to walk around and look at the other tables while you return to your seat. The poem is from Instructions in Joy, The Sabbath, by Reverend Nancy Schaefer. Tell me, did you really rest? You who made day and night and sky that separated waters above and below, and then made the sun and the moon and the stars, who made birds fly and everything that swims, and cattle and creeping things, and then made man and woman, and finally supposedly rested. Tell me how in the midst of all of that buzzing and flapping and slithering, all that bursting forth of leaf and fruit and stem that had never known themselves before. Tell me, how could you possibly have rested? After seeing what no one had ever seen before, beak, hoof, pebble, after losing yourself in 1,000 versions of blue, water in sun, sky against sky, didn't you long to caress each small thing? Notice how toes work, and stamens and fingers? Weren't you hollering out in amazement? Weren't you so filled up glad you couldn't sleep? Weren't you hollering out in amazement? Weren't you so filled up glad that you couldn't sleep? The table by the stairs allows people who are smaller to stand on the stairs and access the table. One of the spiritual practices of this community is generosity. In this time, we're going to practice our generosity through the giving and receiving of our offering. The offering of this congregation supports the mission and the good works of this community. Please give generously as feels good to you. Please join me in the words of offering dedication found in your order of service. We dedicate these gifts in service of our mission to actively create compassionate community and work for a fair and peaceful world. It is inevitable that all things come to an end. The egg cracks open to let out the baby chick. The diseased tree falls down in the woods. The life of Jesus ended in crucifixion. Flowers wither, turn brown, and collapse. Trees lose their leaves for the season. Democracy is deconstructed. Children graduate from kindergarten. March Madness is over. Eventually, every ending is also a beginning, though not all endings feel the same. In a moment, I will share a poem and ring the singing bowl to invite everybody to come forward for our next phase, destruction. You will have a few minutes. Destruction takes less time than creation, so maybe 2 minutes to find a new table, different than the one that you were at before. And together with the people at your table, you will take apart, destroying what's on the table, while trying your best to keep the materials on top of the table. Notice how you feel when you destroy. How do you approach destruction? How do you relate to the others at your table? And once again, when you hear the chime of the bell, you'll have a moment to walk around and take a look at the other tables. Notice and return to your own seat. This poem is called Growing, and it was written by my grandmother, Alice Orchid Howell. The hell I knew had human eyes, angels that were demon-wise, pain to beauty, beauty's pain, rounded wisdom, round again. Love came down in hate's disguise. Life it is that never dies, love it is that tries and tries, child and demon, demon's child, innocent and running wild, stopped for seizing heaven's prize. When hell is telling, heaven lies. When hell is selling, heaven buys. We struggle dreaming struggles dreams, and reaching where our wisdom gleams, the child within us cries and cries. Seemed like some of you needed a little bit of extra invitation to destroy. This prayer is a bit more of a meditation. It was written in 2022 by the Reverend Kendall Gibbons, and much of it still feels relevant to me today. This will be followed by a moment of silence in which you can reflect on the prayers of your own heart or sit in a moment of joyful quiet. The Humanist Speaks of Easter by Kendall Gibbons. There are only two things that we know for sure. One, they stashed Jesus' body in a tomb temporarily until they could get a chance to bury it properly. And two, when they came back, the tomb was empty. Make of that what you will. There are many possible explanations, some more likely than others. I don't believe that Jesus came back from the dead. Neither did Martin or Malcolm. Neither did Viola Liuzzo or Frozan Safi, the women's rights activist shot by the Taliban in Afghanistan last November. Neither will dismembered journalist Jamal Khashoggi or Alexei Navalny when he dies in a Russian prison. Neither will documentary filmmaker Brent Renaud or photographer Maxim Levin, both killed by the invading armies in Ukraine. Kevin Strickland and Lamont McIntyre will not get back the stolen decades of their lives. I don't believe that the crucifixion is a story with a happy ending, or that it was a one-time event. It happens over and over as the human journey unfolds. It happens to us and to the people we love. It happens to the righteous and the innocent. Crucifixion happens, and it feels like the end of the world every time. It feels like nothing could matter anymore, ever. And then inevitably and miraculously, something happens next. Something happens. Of course it does, because the world hasn't ended yet. It's not always an empty tomb. How trite would that become? Mostly the beloved bodies just lie right there, peacefully decomposing. But something happens, and whether we want it to or not, a new chapter begins. Maybe the sun comes up or the lilies do. Spring rolls around. That happens. Or memories come, or someone needs you. You eat food. That happens. You walk down the road and share a recollection. Life happens, keeps happening. The dead don't rise, but we do. One day it happens. You take a breath and it doesn't hurt to breathe. You start to see people again, really see them. Hope rises, community rises, you rise, we rise, life rises. Not because death isn't real. Crucifixion is not just pretend, but something else is just as real, maybe even more real. Something happens next. That is the other thing that we know for sure. Life rises, outrage rises, love rises, faith rises, tears rise, hope rises. This I do believe.
We'll sing this through 3 times. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will furl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open.
And after the destruction, life rises, outrage rises, love rises, faith rises, tears rise, hope rises. They always do. The seedling finds its way through the crack in the sidewalk, and you will find hope again. Once again, I will share a poem and ring the singing bell and invite you all forward to a different table than the one you were at before. And this time, you will create again a new piece out of the destruction. When you hear the chime of the bell, you can walk around and look at the different tables and see what was created before returning to your seats. This poem is called The World Has Changed by Alice Walker and was written December 7th, 2008. The world has changed. Wake up and smell the possibility. The world has changed. It did not change without your prayers, without your faith, without your determination to believe in liberation and kindness, without your dancing through the years that had no beat. The world has changed. It did not change without your numbers, your fierce love of self and cosmos. It did not change without your strength. The world has changed. Wake up. Give yourself the gift of a new day. The world has changed. This does not mean that you were never hurt. The world has changed. Rise, yes, and shine. Resist the siren call of disbelief. The world has changed. Don't let yourself remain asleep to it. Please rise in body and or in spirit and join in singing hymn 298, verses 1 through 3. In our next part, we have discussion. I would like you to gather together when I ring the chime to make a small group with something like 5 to 10 people in the pews near you. Introduce yourselves to one another if you don't know each other yet, and designate someone in each group to share out to the larger group. You'll have about 5 minutes to chat with one another, so please share briefly so that everyone can share something of their experience. When you hear the music playing, you'll finish your thought and return to a place of quiet. What was this experience like? What did you notice? What did you feel? What was at the heart of it for you? Did anything surprise you? Our final part of our interactive activity is sharing. So for this moment, if anyone from your group wants to come forward and share out, please line up down the center aisle, and we'll have people take turns at the microphone and just share something briefly with the rest of us of what your group noticed, observed, felt, shared. And as you line up, I have a reading for you by Cameron Trimble. When the world unravels, let joy stitch us back together. When grief is heavy, let joy be a feather in our hand. Teach us to laugh, even with tears in our eyes, to dance even when the ground shakes, to remember again and again that joy is a form of courage, and we were made for this. All right, come forward.
Our group gained a better appreciation, I think, for nature in general. There was kind of an initial holding back at first, but we listened up and when given license to create. I think that was maybe in a way permission to create or impetus to do so. The destruction part was hardest for us. The whole process was initially just a little bit intimidating, but then very satisfying. We enjoyed most doing this together. On one table, we noticed, and we're very proud of the people who did this, on one table, everything got gathered together as a harmonious vision. We really, really appreciated that. We're proud of this table and people who put it together, how they pulled together various elements from disparate places. I noticed also there's a tactile sense as well, being able to put things together, destroy them, pull them apart, put them back together in a different way. Also a sense of smell, I found that satisfying. And the connection of these parts, everyone's little piece of the whole, was very exciting. Thank you.
Hello, this is going to be short. I've already been told I might depress you with my Boston accent, but we noticed there was a reluctance on the part of most folks to participate in the destruction. But somebody noted it's Easter, creation, destination, recreation, and somebody said it kind of reminds them of recreation. But people seem to work together more at the beginning than later on, and some folks appreciated that we were working silently, gave us a chance to meditate on what we were doing, and we made some good connections in our little group here. It was me, John, Mickey, my wife, Carrie, whose mother is from Dorchester, and we had some friends down from the congregation up in Burlington, Vermont today, Tony and Kathy.
This one will be very short. It's Easier to Destroy Than to Create by Ernie and Emmy, or our group.
And these things are very fun to play with, and they feel good on your face.
It was hard to destroy, and it was hard to destroy. Someone said at first it was hard to destroy, then someone inspired him to destroy more. Then it was hard to create when you were comparing it to others, because it was kind of like theirs is better than mine. And then it's hard to not talk because you're kind of trying to interact with people, and then you're kind of feeling guilty for destroying other people's work that they worked hard on.
this way. All right. Our group, we had some folks from Newton, Massachusetts that were with us. I don't recall your names, I'm sorry. Julia, John, and yeah. So that was nice to have some new folks sharing with us. So one of the things we noticed when we were creating is that we were kind of answering to other people's creations. So looking at what somebody else had done and saying, oh, how can I add to that, or how can I complement that? We wanted to make sure everybody had a chance and the things were in a basket, so it seemed like it was the people around the basket that were able to do it, but we wanted everybody to, so we were finding ways to do that by moving the basket, et cetera, et cetera. When it was, okay, that was for creating. When we were creating, there was an energy of teamwork. When we were destroying, we, perhaps because of who we are, had the impulse to clean up after, a child has played with something and your instinct is to clean up. So we were doing that more than we were destroying. When the destroying was going on, there was a sense of smells or scents that permeated even after the destruction. And when we recreated, we were renewing the materials, looking at them in a different light, looking at them differently, and creating something beautiful out of something that had been destroyed. And that was this surge of energy, and there was a mention of rising from the ashes, like the phoenix rising from the ashes. So I think that covers just about everything. So that was our group.
Well, once again, our group found it was easier to create than to destroy. Somebody made the point that sometimes an artist creates something, then purposefully destroys it, and then recreates something else using the same materials. And one artist in our group told a story of how her work was destroyed by a dog. She was upset, but then decided to turn it into a collage and create something different.
The destruction phase yielded a wonderful natural scent after all the damage was done. And the recreation part was beautiful to make something new out of that destruction. We were lucky enough to sit with a couple who've been here probably before some of us were born. These people have been coming here since the 70s. So say hi to them.
It is very interesting with the human condition how much we had the same thoughts and beliefs and stories. So we too, destruction was hard, but then it became to some enjoyable. The fragrance, the smells, you can even stand up here and you can smell the smells, but we thought it was creating initially was much more collaborative in the first round, and we felt that as we progressed, we became separate to rebuild. And someone said, destruction of some elements is not easy. What do you keep from being destroyed? So when you're in a house fire, what do you save? What is precious? And then someone really profoundly said, after destruction, what rises from the rubble? What joy can be found from the discovery of precious objects?
Some interesting memories and feelings came up in our group when the destruction was happening. There were sand dollars that many of us didn't want to break and wanted to rescue, and we were thinking about that. And then we were thinking after in the discussion about the joy that some of us felt when we saw the Palestinians return to Gaza. And find things in the rubble and make little homes out of little caves in the rubble, and and some were interviewed and said how they were glad to be home.
We had sort of two thoughts in our group. One, several of us were brought to like making sandcastles with grandchildren, knowing that the castle is going to be destroyed, or the Buddhist monks who make these incredible works of art and destroy them. And just to understand that we're all temporal beings. But the other thing that several experienced on the destruction, several of us were intrigued by the fact that people were telling us we weren't doing it properly. And I thought, so I just leave that as a...
I think Carl was talking about me because I was getting all upset when they were pushing those little pussy willows off the branches. When we did creation, we were surprised at the awe and wonder of each unique piece that just looked like a basket of something, you know, but not. And we didn't know what to do first, but then we kind of quietly, silently collaborated and communicated with our team, which was really, really kind of unique. And the destruction made some of us very uncomfortable, and some of us showed a lot of anger. And then, and then the recreation was creating something more beautiful with what we had left.
I didn't have a group, but I did have something to say that I noticed. I was brought several bugs. So even during creation, destruction, and recreation, there were people saving lives.
Our benediction today will be sung, courtesy of David Tubner. As Tina Stevens comes forward to extinguish our chalice, please find your chalice extinguishing words in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and share with the world until we are together again.